So I got us a new project to start, and it should be a fairly easy, straightforward project. This thing that I got is pretty mint shape, so it'll be a real quick project. And it's this bush hog. I'm going to restore it, give it a nice paint job. It'll work good behind somebody's tractor, but we restore it. It shouldn't need too much work. I can reuse all the steel that's on it. It'd pretty much just give it a paint job and it'll be ready to go. Maybe touch the blades up a little bit. They look a little dull on the one edge, but it'll be all right. So this shouldn't be more than maybe a day project. No, I'm just messing with you. This is definitely not a restoration project. What this is right here is a salvage what we need project and scrap the rest. So what we're going to do with this gem right here is we're going to make a mower for that. I've always wanted a mower for the excavator. I looked at them mulching heads, like the Fecon or Fecon or however you say it. Mulching heads. There's a couple other ones. There was a place out of Mississippi I actually contacted a while ago, and those are expensive. And a machine this small, this I think is like a 6-ton excavator size, and they don't quite have the hydraulic flow you need to run one of them. The guy I was talking to that sells them, he runs, he's got a YouTube channel, if I remember right. It's the Upstate Mulching or something like that. He's out of Mississippi, and he sells them, and he was actually telling me he was trying to make a power pack for these, but by the time you make a power pack for one of these and buy it, you're better off just buying the bigger machine, going to the KX080-3 or whatever their dash is. I can't remember if it's 3 or it might be 4 now, but with this little of one, you don't get the power you need to do what you really want to do with them. So, and they're super expensive. They're like 14 grand for a cheap one. But I see a lot of people use them for brush mowing, and you know, stuff about an inch and a half max, like 2 inch. And brush cutters for them are about 2,500 and up. And I can build one cheaper than that. Just going to take a little brain power, but shouldn't be too hard. I want to make one about 4 foot. The blades on this measure 5, but I think I can lose quite a bit distance by reconfiguring it. My problem is finding blades that are short. The shortest I can find are 14 inch, but I think we can get something figured out. I have some projects around the farm here that I want to try this mower out on. It would actually be handy for. One of them being, I got a bank over here where all the stuff's piled up that needs mowed. I can't mow it with a tractor. And we got a pond out back that needs mowed around. And I'm sure I can find work for it, or work can find me, probably more accurate. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to take and salvage the gearbox and the blade assembly. We're going to cut the tail wheel off right about there where it's not so rusty and save that in case we need that for a later project, because that is adjustable. And say maybe later on down the road I get a skid steer and want to make some kind of attachment for it that needs a gauge wheel. Got a gauge wheel. We're going to save the 3-point, the cobbled up 3-point linkage, because that's got some good steel in it. Save the little pins and the turnbuckles and the PTO shaft. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that U-joint apart and that U-joint apart, and I'm going to take the coupler end and put on there, and then get me a hydraulic motor that has the PTO splines. And I gotta check. Yeah, that looks like a regular 540. Some of the 540 stuff had like a smaller 540 PTO. Some of the Ford stuff was that way, and this was actually, a guy bought this with a Ford 9N, and the reason it's in this bad a shape is he told me he bought the tractor at an online auction. The pictures were dark, you couldn't hardly see, and the mower looked good. And I don't know about you, but if I turn the lights off in this barn, this mower probably wouldn't look good, even in the dark. But he said it didn't look like this when he went there. When he went there to pick it up, the whole thing probably looked like this all the way around. But he said as he walked on it to walk around the tractor, he just kind of kept falling through. Yeah, I'd say. And he said the barn that it was in was built on a bank, and the water would rush down this hill and kind of flood in the barn. And to me, it looks like this mower would have had to sit underwater for periods of time to get this bad. So, I don't know. I paid $25 for this. That gearbox and all the other extra goodies is probably worth $150 by the time you had to go buy stuff like that. The PTO shaft alone, which is still good, minus the guards a little rusted together, that's probably $100 if I had to guess. Them aren't cheap. And so, I mean, the bottom of the gearbox is a little crusty, a lot of scaly rust, but I think we can look past that and it should still work. And the blade carrier is a little rusty, but it should still work for what I need. They sell stump jumpers for these. Well, stump jumpers I can buy, they're $100. I just got to see what kind of spline shafts on that gearbox, and I could put a stump jumper on it if I wanted to. If the bracket that's down there is too bad. This doesn't have a stump jumper. It's got like a little saddle kind of deal. But what we're going to do, we're going to take the torch and we're going to start cutting bolts and see what we can free up and get this tore apart so I can send the rest of it to the scrapyard for the 2 cents I'm going to get out of it, because I don't need the rest of it. We're going to build our own frame and everything, and I'm going to find me a fab shop that can build me a quick attach ears for this machine. I'm going to get a few of them built for later builds if I decide to build something. So let's get at her. Let's get the torch out and get to torching. Oh, another thing we're going to build too. Since we're building a mower for this, there's a lot of glass here. Glass ain't cheap. So what we're going to do, we're going to build an expanded metal cage that can go on here that will be able to be taken on and off easy. And I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld pins like what's on that 3-point hitch, where I can use them little lynch pins, weld them there and weld them on them gussets there, and I can use lynch pins to take it on and off real quick, because I won't need it all the time. So I think that's how we're going to do that, and we'll just get this apart and I'll be able to figure out what I need as far as steel. So let's get at her. Well, this is where we stopped for today. I got the tail wheel cut off. Whoa, phone, catch up. Got the tail wheel cut off, the 3-point front cut off, it's sitting outside, and I got the bolts cut loose on the gearbox. You can see it's kind of sitting crooked. I got it upside down because I need to get that big castle nut off, and I don't have a socket big enough, so I got to see what the boss at work has for me that'll fit that. I believe it might be like a 2-inch, but we have that kind of stuff at work, so see if I can't get that from him. And probably getting that carrier off is going to be a pain in the butt, but I could probably make a puller. I have that kind of capabilities. Something that would go in like them bolt holes there, and then push down on that while pulling up on that. Sounds like something could be made. I got some channel iron I bought at an auction where I bought my lathe at, and I should be able to do that. So till another day. I beat on it with the hammer and I think I lost half my scrap. Oh well, we'll put that in the trash can. So, but it should pretty much be rust free now. Just, well, at least any rust that's going to flake off. But I don't know what kind of bush hog this was, but the gearbox has some red paint on it. I thought maybe it was a Ford at first before I seen the red paint, because it looked like it might have been a square bush hog, but then I don't know, there was a piece that fell off that kind of looked like it might have been an angled back part, so it could have been actual bush hog branded bush hog. I don't know. Oh well, it don't matter, because we're going to come up with a cool name for it once we get it built. The Slasher 5000 or the Bushwhacker 1000 or whatever. Come up with a cool name for it. Have Casey make me a little sticker to put on the side, and it'll be cool. It'll be cool. But I'm thinking, since I want to make it 4 foot and it's 5 foot from tip to tip at the moment, thinking if I cut that down, that piece that bolts to there, if I cut that down and move it in, it's going to narrow it up for me. And it's also going to, well, it'll take the height down and make the width shorter. So I think we're going to do that. We'll see. We got to get it apart first and cleaned up and start finding parts and pieces to it. So anyways, we'll call this part 1. Catch you guys on the next one.